Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the GetGlobal Grow to Market Day. And my name is Libby Pigg. I'm the head of marketing for That's It Nutrition, which I'm sure you all know about, the makers of the world's most delicious and nutritious fruit bars. And I will say that social media is really important to my business, and that goes triple with this global shutdown where more and more people around the world have been in front of some sort of screen. And TikTok has definitely been an increasingly big priority for my business. So I'm super excited about this discussion. I want to introduce the panel, but before I do, I just want to set one little ground rule. We're not going to have time for an official Q&A. We're going to focus our conversation really on key insights on how you can leverage this important platform. I'm sure we could talk to these guys for 8 hours, but we only get one. If you do have a burning question that's relevant to our conversation, please leave it in the public chat area and we'll get to it if we possibly can. So enough about me. I would love these guys to introduce themselves. So Pretty, can you introduce yourself first and tell us what you do at TikTok?
Sure. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much, Libby, for having us. It's really great to be here. So my name is Preeti Dalal, and I lead our platform strategy within global business marketing at TikTok. So essentially what my team does is we focus on brand building, thought leadership, and sales enablement for TikTok for Business, which is our B2B brand that was launched last year. So in terms of breaking that down and what does that exactly mean, we leverage data-driven insights for storytelling around why marketers should be using TikTok to achieve their business objectives and reach their audience.
Okay, great. Great. And Shyam, how are you?
Hi, how are you doing? Great to be here. My name is Shyam Panchal. I lead product strategy at TikTok. Preeti and I are the leads across the brand strategy team here in New York. I have been in the media industry for about 15 years, working across media agencies, social startups, youth publishers. I was most recently at Vice Media, where I led the ad product team for about 7 years. Myself, personally, my team, we lead global product strategy. And what that means really is we're responsible for marketing our best-in-class ad product suite, and developing compelling sales collateral really to help brands and agencies to tell their stories on the platform and essentially build relationships with our community. So really for us this year, it's our goal to educate the industry on the most effective and engaging ways to drive value on TikTok through creating those and cultivating those joyful bonds that we're going to talk about later today.
Okay, fantastic. I mean, I think storytelling is like the main thing. There's so many ways to tell stories on this platform. And, you know, I know it was blowing up a few years ago and now it is official. TikTok is not the shiny new object. It has proven that it has like impressive staying power on a global scale. So for anyone that is listening on this panel right now that isn't familiar about, you know, what TikTok is, how it works, can you just give like a high level overview for everyone?
Yeah, definitely, Libby. I can start. I would say that, you know, at its core, TikTok is a destination for joy and creativity. You know, it's really where millions of people are coming to express themselves, to engage with an inclusive and global community. And people are also here because they just want to enjoy entertaining and lighthearted content. And that can take many different forms, whether that's, you know, cooking, comedy, DIY, even personal finance tips. Given the diversity in content, TikTok is definitely a place where everyone belongs and can find their niche. And for businesses, I would say that TikTok is an exciting place where brands are welcome and are just as much part of the community. And to just give you a sense of who is using the platform, TikTok is available in over 150 countries. We've amassed over 100 million monthly average users in the US and EU respectively. But what I'd say is probably the most interesting is the level of user engagement. So if you think about on average a user's attention span, it's only 8 seconds. And at a time when it's hard to capture someone's attention, I would say that TikTok has not only managed to do so, but we're also holding users' attention. So just to give you some context, on a daily basis, I'd say that users are spending roughly the time that it takes to watch a movie on TikTok, which is more time spent versus other social and entertainment platforms. And this is because TikTok is full screen, sound on, digestible video content. So you're not just passively scrolling through, but it's about activity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'd just like to add to that, I think one of the things that we are positioning ourselves as this year is a social entertainment platform. As Priti mentioned, the community are watching a movie's worth of content every single day on the platform. So, it's clearly a place where people are coming to spend time, to be fully engaged with creators across the world. Geographical regions don't really apply here because the content's served based on what your interests are. So, that's really powerful, and that is algorithmically served to you based on what you're interested in. And we did a study with Nielsen, and it showed that 3 out of 4 TikTok users feel that the content on the platform is totally unique to other social and video platforms. So we're delivering something that is completely, complementary, I guess, and additive to people's day worldwide. So that's really exciting.
It's so exciting, and pretty something that you just brought up, about how people, that was short form content, but they actually consume hours and hours and hours of it a day. I know for myself, if there's a video that I like a lot, I watch it like 10 times in a row, and then I forward it to 10 people that watch it 10 times in a row. So I completely understand how an hour can go by and the stuff is really, really good, and it just keeps getting better. But in terms of brands, like, is there a type of industry that's doing things better than others? Like, there's been a lot of articles this week about food. It's like really good for food if your food is transparent and healthy, but it's really bad for food if you're hiding something, or whatever, because people tell the truth. And then, I see entertainment industries doing things really well. I see sports doing things well. What's the real answer? This is just what I see in my feed based on what my interests are, as Shyam said.
Yeah, totally. I think I could jump in and just talk to that a little. I think it's interesting to see that brands of all types are finding success on the platform. It's really not about the type of brand you are, but how you speak to our audience and how you show up on the platform. And it's those that really embrace the creativity and authenticity of that language that the TikTok community are embodying and speaking to each other within. And it's those brands that really succeed. And I think taking a step back and thinking about like how marketing on digital platforms has really kind of evolved over the last 10 years, we're seeing that click-through rates are falling year on year. So, brands are looking for a new way through. Attention has been steadily decreasing, especially on mobile. And really, when we think about ad experiences on mobile devices, it's completely homogenized now. So it's a real struggle for brands to be able to cut through. So, what we're trying to do is that we're trying to create this new type of connection. So when brands are thinking about advertising on TikTok, it's not about who they are. It's really about how they connect and how they embody the energy and the joy on the platform to create something that feels inclusive and real and has that dialogue that feels honest. So really, when we're thinking about that new value exchange between audiences and brands, that's really, as a marketing team, that's really what we're trying to communicate to brands. It's not about who you are, but it's about how you show up on the platform.
Yeah, I just want to echo kind of what Shyam was talking about, in that we are such an inclusive and diverse platform, in that we welcome brands of, kind of, we like to say, of all sizes. So obviously larger, more established businesses, but also small businesses. We're doing kind of a ton of stuff right now for small businesses, including we just had a summit last week. But from an industry's perspective, again, I would say that we see brands across many verticals. I know you mentioned a few, but entertainment, tech, CPG, retail, e-commerce, et cetera. And then I would say that more recently we're branching out to other industries as well, including auto and finance. So we recently launched several auto campaigns. We had Chevy Silverado in the US, we had Acura in Canada, and we had VW in Mexico. And on the finance front, yeah, it was like really great. If you've seen some of those campaigns, it's exciting, and some of them had custom songs. And on the finance front, brands like TurboTax, SoFi, Geico, those are just a few as well that we've been working with recently. So again, we're just, in terms of that diversity spectrum, we're kind of really hitting all different categories, all different types of companies, et cetera.
Okay. So it's okay if someone's team is all over 40, if they're not Gen Z, they're not cool, like they're still allowed to come to this party.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. That's the whole point. We're trying to create this inclusive platform that welcomes people of all shapes, sizes, and demographics, really. When we think about the community specifically, it's grown more diverse. It's broadened in terms of its overall geo and demo. It's totally multi-generational. And so it's less about who you are. It's about really kind of your passions and how you show up on the platform. And when we think about like the year that we've had, I think it's fair to say that we were initially thought of as a Gen Z platform, but we've really blown up there. And over the last year, it's interesting. I think we've been thinking about why that potentially is. And when you think about how many young people have been stuck at home with their parents and their older siblings, and that influence that young people have on the rest of their family has really drawn people into the platform. So that's really interesting for me. And then when we think about the algorithms, like once you're on the platform, you really just need to flick through a couple of TikToks, spend 10 minutes on the platform, and the algorithm will start serving you content that you like. And the more you engage with that content, the better it becomes. So I don't think it necessarily means that it's only content for young people. It's content for everyone. And you just need to spend 5-10 minutes with the platform to start seeing the content that we know you're going to love.
Yeah. And I would just say, like, especially in the last year, we see TikTok becoming more multi-generational and more of, what we like to call kind of like a family affair. I can just share a couple examples. So the McFarlanes is, a really fun family. It has, 2 sons and a dad. They have over 2 million followers. And it started during the pandemic when, the reality was families were stuck at home together and they just wanted to have fun with it. And now they have over 2 million followers. And then Nonna Pia is another one. She's actually a personal favorite of mine. She's this really sweet, cute Italian grandmother who shares her favorite Italian recipes. But I think but I think the best part is that her grandson Antonio is the one that filmed the videos. So he's asking her questions, about what she's cooking and her techniques, and it's just kind of really great to sort of see that family connection. And, again, just in terms of trends over the last year, we saw families joining in on trends together. There was a really great generations challenge where multi-generational families, again, were filming TikToks together and giving a nod to the next generation. There was one that I saw where it was like 4 generations of women in the family, and it was just really great, like fun and sort of positive vibes. There was also the Wipe It Down challenge, which many people might be familiar with, where you're like literally wiping a mirror and you kind of get to show off your alter ego. So we saw like couples jumping in on that. There was one where it was J-Lo and A-Rod and they kind of switched outfits, which was hilarious. You see like parents and children, etc. So, kind of there's been a lot of that sort of like more family content and TikTok bringing families together.
Yeah, I think that's primarily because it's so easy just to get on the platform. You don't need an account. You can download the app, open it, content begins to be served to you. These 60-second clips or short form experiences really leave a cliffhanger at the end of every single video. You're wanting another video as soon as that video is halfway through. And like you say, like you end up watching them for far longer than you probably expected to. I think for me, I have to be really careful before I open the app because I know that at least an hour of my time is going to be taken up immediately. So it's brought you in pretty quick.
Do you ever get in trouble at TikTok for being on TikTok too much?
I don't think you can be. I get in trouble at home for being on TikTok. Especially, I mean, this isn't a plug for Sound On, but because you have to be on TikTok, you can't be watching TV. It kind of distracts from whatever else could be going on around me. So
it's not a second screen experience like Twitter or something like that. It's
I have to take myself away to be on TikTok.
Yeah, I will say it's interesting how the multi-generational thing on TikTok. Some of my favorite people on there's a 94-year-old woman in California and her grandson films her, and it's all telling, I don't remember her name, but she's telling stories about what it was like to be young and how she has no regrets and why she looks so beautiful and everything. And it's just fascinating and inspiring. And I don't know if my colleague is joined right now, but my head of social and influencer, Sam, he has a lot of followers on TikTok, and no one was watching his videos until he started dancing with his mother. and then it blew up. Like there's something special about the multi-generational thing that TikTok users like. I don't know what it is.
There really is. And then, you know, kind of not to like go back to the business aspect of things, but the one thing that I did want to mention is, you know, as you see families at home together, you have to think about the purchasing and influencing power of these younger, you know, generations. And it's not just, again, like now their own income, but it's also the influence that they have when it comes to parents and other family members. I was just taking a look at some studies, and it was fascinating to see that pre-pandemic, you could see that younger consumers influencing household spend, it was like some, you know, enormous number in the hundreds of billions. So only imagine now with people being at home together over the last year with their families, you know, that has definitely gone up probably quite significantly.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so that's a good segue into, so my brand is fine. It doesn't matter if we're not cool. It's for everybody. But now that I'm using it for my business, how should I think about it in terms of my marketing mix, right? Am I telling stories? Is this upper funnel stuff? Or should I think about it in a more like sense of urgency and get people to purchase on the app or do something for a limited time only? Is it upper, mid, lower? Like how does someone even think about where this fits in all of the other things that they're doing?
Yeah, that's a great question, Libby. I'm glad you know that we're talking about it. I think it's, you know, important to note that TikTok is a full funnel play, and we see brands having success in driving both awareness and conversions. You know, it's also important to mention that it is important for a brand to have that combination of organic and paid. Because you really do want to think about amplifying your organic presence and being able to have more controls and targeting a specific audience. So to kind of just, you know, give you a few examples to sort of bring this to light, Aerie is a great example. I don't know if you've heard about the Aerie crossover leggings, but these were
but I want to.
Yeah, they were like all like the rage, and they were sold out online for nearly 2 months.
Oh my goodness.
Because of a viral TikTok post that just, you know, led to this crazy overwhelming demand. So basically a creator had made a post, and that led to 700,000 searches for the product on Aerie's site. And they received, you know, about 130,000 emails from customers asking to be placed on the, you know, notify me when it's back in stock wait list. And so again, you know, this was more organic conversations that were happening. And after seeing the success, they even added paid ads to further drive conversions.
Wow.
And then, yeah, that was just like a really great example. And then sort of switching gears a little bit, I did want to talk about a small business called Momentary Ink. They specialize in custom temporary tattoos. And they ran a conversion-focused campaign, and you know they got from video views perspective, they had 14 million, a 1.5% CTR, and 22% more efficient purchase CPA versus the category benchmark. And then, kind of, you know, going sort of on the other side of things, JanSport is a brand that we saw ran a mental health awareness campaign, and I wanted to call this out because I think that it's important to see how brands are utilizing TikTok, not only to raise brand awareness, but also awareness for causes that are important to them and, you know, that they value, right? And that they want to, you know, kind of share. So they ran this campaign. It was called Lighten the Load, and it was about supporting their mission of connecting their audience, which was primarily students, with mental health resources. And they got over 16 million views within the first days of the campaign. So again, this just shows that TikTok can be the perfect platform to amplify not only your brand, but also share what you're about and what you value to establish meaningful connections with your audience.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, sorry, I was just going to add to that. You know, I think we've done a lot of thinking about what this traditional funnel, as you mentioned, you know, upper, middle, lower funnel kind of tactics look like. And I think coming back to my point around kind of reinvention and taking a fresh look at the way in which we approach digital marketing, I think we've been doing a lot of that fresh thinking and trying to kind of, I guess, reinvent the way that we approach things like the funnel as well to drive conversions. You know, I think nowadays, I think we're fully aware that brands are looking for far more lower funnel ROI, especially as e-commerce grows as a tactic. So we're really trying to support that effort. But when we talk about this kind of TikTok made me buy it trend, as Priti alluded to with airy leggings, essentially a hashtag that describes that instantaneous urge to buy something, having watched it on TikTok just once, that came from one post, that craze around the leggings. So, it really means that kind of these upper funnel tactics, which you would think that TikTok would usually play in, these kind of creative video experiences that wouldn't be traditionally lower funnel, those can now drive lower funnel returns through people being engaged and inspired to buy directly from seeing a post by a creator or by one of our communities. So it's really interesting when we think about this funnel. It's like it's going from upper funnel to lower funnel almost immediately. And so that's how we're really seeing these kind of viral moments happen, because you don't have to, marketers don't have to think about awareness drivers and then engagement drivers and then conversion drivers. You're really thinking about how you can connect earned media and paid media together to be that springboard for your marketing strategy and have real impact on your ROI.
I think it's absolutely fair to say that you guys put the fun back in the funnel.
Why have we not thought of that?
It's mine, but you can still
record it. You're going to see us in a year's time using that.
I love it. Everyone should have fun in the funnel. I will say, though, also, brands can think about it first, rather than overthinking where they fit in, start by just listening more too. Like, one thing that we did over here at That's It is, one key differentiation of our products is that we're free from the top 12 food allergies. So we're like, is that something to talk about on TikTok? And we looked at all the hashtags, and there was a food allergies suck trend like a year ago. I'm like, people are talking about what they can't eat and what they can eat, and they made like a song out of it. So you would be really surprised what conversations are really important and relevant, just because it's not silly and up here. It's important to people because it's a part of their life. So, I just want to throw it out there that, using it as a listening platform is not a bad idea at all.
No, it's definitely not. I think that's really important to realize. And we do have a hashtag taxonomy, so you can literally look up anything and see what people are saying. I think it touches on the point around the lack of borders on the platform, right? So you can essentially see content from anywhere in the world. So you're not necessarily geographically restricted to seeing content in your local area. You can see a post from someone in India, someone in Australia, someone in the UK. So it brings the globe together in a way that we haven't really seen before. I think other social platforms have certainly attempted to kind of connect people, but it still is a relatively intangible connection. Through TikTok, you can actually see their experiences as real people filming themselves. Video is the most engaging format, the most engaging medium to be able to see, think, hear, and feel what people are going through across the globe.
Yeah, and again, I think this just goes back to the TikTok value proposition, in that it is about that kind of real, authentic conversation. People want a platform to express themselves. They don't just want like the perfectly curated content. In fact, I think people are actually fatigued by that. They want real, they want inspirational, and I think again that's like the value in TikTok, because there is a community for everyone, and you can search by hashtags, and I feel like you can just go down like these like rabbit holes and kind of just come and discover across all these different subcultures and communities, etc., and just find where you like belong and what speaks to you and kind of what your niche is.
Great. I heard you use a word that is pretty new on the scene in the last few months. Earlier, you used the word creator. So this is like the new word for influencer, right? And to me, it sounds more like a professional person that knows their stuff that should be compensated. But can you just talk a little bit about what if this influential creator on TikTok, how they are different? Because there's certain people that are more popular than others. What are those key attributes? How should we be thinking and working with these creators?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, I would say that we definitely do use the term creators versus influencers. And this sort of, actually fits in nicely with what I was saying, in that, consumers are very fatigued by that repetitive and aspirational content. And that's not what TikTok is about. We're over that. We want positive, we want fun, engaging. And that's really what our creators do. They're the lifeblood of the TikTok community. And, we do tend to see, just from a performance standpoint, higher engagement rates on content and ads involving creators. And, just to kind of take this a step further, if we think about the dialogue between brands and communities on TikTok, what we're really doing is innovating and building a new form of creator marketing to really amplify the conversations, that brands are having. And so, if you empower creators to join in on a conversation and be the voice for your brand, they're actually participating alongside of you, and they're connecting with all their followers as well. And so if you think about just the power of that, that shows up in the For You feed of millions, and it's just such a powerful way to sort of touch and engage with the community.
Great.
Yeah,
So
I was going to say, I think that makes it tough. I think what Prithi said is definitely kind of where we're at. I think there's no real difference between someone on the platform and a creator, apart from the fact that a creator is putting out content that is they feel passionate about, and they're doing it, I guess, a little bit more than just myself or Prithi would. But it's really about how that kind of idea of influence is changing quite significantly. An influencer was kind of an entity or a celebrity that would be paid to say something on behalf of the brand. The brand would essentially tell them what to say, and they would say it. A creator take their own initiative, they put their own spin on things, and brands can't really necessarily tell them exactly what to put out. They're not just a spokesperson, but they kind of incorporate the brand's essence into their message and then put their own spin on it. And I think that's where the creator ecosystem is very different to the influencer ecosystem. It's far more long tail. I mean, we obviously have the D'Amelios and the kind of bigger influencers and creators on the platform, but we're really giving brands access to that long tail of creators who might have much smaller followings, but are far bigger in their specific niches or in their sub communities, and can ultimately influence culture in a far more tangible way. So it's really powerful to think about how brands can ultimately leverage that. And we have some great ways that we can talk about that. We've seen a ton of success, and we have what we call our creator marketplace, which is where brands can ultimately access and find the right creators for their campaign. But it's not necessarily about putting all of your eggs in one creator basket, right? It's not about spending all of your budget on one post. It's about giving creators across a specific range of different passion points an opportunity to tell the story of your brand, your brief, in a way that feels authentic to them and their community and their followers. So that's what's really interesting about the difference between creators and influencers. We're not asking them to influence, we're asking them to create.
Okay, interesting. And so if I'm a brand and I want to work with creators, do you recommend does a brand work with an agency to find these creators? Is there like a place where they all hang out? Do we talk to TikTok directly? Like how do I get started?
Yeah, I can take that one. I mean, there's a few different ways brands can get involved. So we obviously can facilitate conversations with the bigger creators on the platform and help those partnerships, come to life. But as I mentioned, the creator marketplace is a great place for brands to get started. They can access the creators that they feel best represent their brand, and then launch campaigns with them that ultimately allow them to kind of manage that entire experience through that portal. So that's the easiest way of leveraging creators. But the way that we like to tell brands to kind of dip their toe in the water when it comes to working with creators is start really by listening to what conversations are already happening on the platform. Our audiences are talking about that category, that product, and particularly maybe even that brand. So leveraging those conversations and amplifying those to make sure that those messages and those conversations reach as many people as possible is the first thing. And we have a product called Boosted TikToks, which helps to amplify organic conversation. So that really is just putting a boost behind what's already being said. And then the second one is really then starting to think about, well, what creators can tell your story in a really compelling way, and accessing those creators and building relationships with those creators to help them convey what the brand is about and embody that message across millions of For You feeds, and allowing them to be advocates. And I guess then the third way is really, then the brand, once they feel comfortable and once they feel like they have a presence and feel familiar with the kind of conversation on the platform, is, building a destination on the platform, setting up a business account, building a following, and really having your own voice, maybe with, maybe without creators. But ultimately that way, when you've kind of understood what resonates on the platform, it's much easier for brands to be able to feel comfortable in investing fully on TikTok. But there's so many different ways that we can access the power of the community, but that's really what we're here to help brands with.
Great.
Yeah, I think it's important to remember that there's not any, kind of one defined path of success. And it really is about just sort of jumping in, kind of throwing away any preconceived notions, and just like getting in and trying it out and doing what feels right for you. But I think like taking a moment to, really just listen, watch the TikToks, read the comments, understand what's trending, like pay attention to the For You feed. One anecdote that someone had said that I really like is like your For You feed is like a snowflake, and that everyone's is very unique, and the content that I see will be very different from Libby, what you see and what Sham sees, because it's very customized and tailored for you based on how you engage with the content, where your interests are and things like that.
I think it's more like a fingerprint. It's so unique to me that I almost sometimes don't want to share what's on my TikTok feed with my girlfriend, because she'll know who I am better than I can probably describe it.
It's like your Google search history.
It is. It's like my search history, exactly. Yeah.
Wow, that really is so interesting. I feel like that's something. Well, I want to make sure we don't miss the global and get global. So, Piggy, you talked a little bit about the car companies in different countries. Can you talk a little bit more about your efforts to help brands expand internationally and some examples of that?
Yeah, I'm actually going to let Sham answer that one.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. I mean, going back to my previous point, I think it's evident that, in the 150 countries that we have a significant presence. TikTok has been one of the fastest growing apps worldwide. We're often the most downloaded app in those countries. So we have an international audience. And, when we think about brands who want to target and reach those audiences wherever they may be, we've, over the last year, been spending a ton of time getting up to parity across our targeting capabilities, our measurement capabilities, and optimization tactics, so that brands can bring their audiences or bring their target demographics and ultimately overlay those onto our audience. So it's efficient, from the start of the campaign as it can be. But I think one of the things to really understand is that while we can target based off of behavior and interest and other more traditional forms of targeting, it's really interesting to look at TikTok as a slightly different approach that doesn't really align to that same traditional approach of media planning or media targeting. When we think about, creating this central creative idea, it's really about letting that go on the platform and algorithmically letting that message find the users that resonate most with it. Often brands don't know, they think they know who their target audience is, and they'll bring those audiences to us and we'll absolutely start the campaign there. But we might find that it's a totally different audience that's popping with that particular piece of creative, or even buying their product. So it's interesting to kind of think of it in a far more democratic way. We want brands to be creating hundreds of TikToks on the platform. We want them not to be thinking about one central 30-second spot and running it as far and as wide or targeted to specific set demographics. We want them to be thinking about this in a way that ultimately allows the best piece of content to win based off of whose feed it appears in and whoever is resonating with it best. And so the algorithm will do a lot of that work for the brand. So as long as the brand leans in with an open mind and thinks about it as almost testing creative at scale, then international audiences, wherever they are, and whoever's interested in that content and that brand and that product, it will find a home for them. So that's why it's quite powerful and slightly different to where I think marketers have kind of been bringing their experience with digital.
I think that testing creative at scale is such a good phrase, and I'm going to steal that one from you guys, because I can't tell you how many brands, thankfully ours is not one of them, but some of the larger brands that I used to work with, have to go through so many rounds of approval and legal. And it reminds me of the olden days where we had to have like 20 people review one tweet before it went live. And it's like, for what, you know? And then you see brands out there, great, good brands that have put out a few videos and none of them like hit wildfire. And so they've abandoned the channel, you know, and it's like, man, you stopped before something could have happened because things are going well. And I have this hope and dream, of course, for That's It. And I definitely need to go to the creator marketplace and focus on the boosted stuff to make extra stuff happen. But yeah, it's just test and learn, and having a lot of fun with it, I think, is so important.
Yeah, I think you just referenced what kind of we're trying to get at is about lowering the barrier of entry. We're not saying you have to have a fantastic Super Bowl style spot. You can jump on with a few, kind of simple creatives that don't necessarily, have to cost a lot, but ultimately could potentially resonate with users on the platform. And then you can build on that, right? You can adjust that tone, you can adjust, the messaging within that and play with it and have fun with it, like you say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, TikTok has really taken out of that whole concept of, needing high production value equipment, et cetera. Like, you literally just need your phone and, just kind of have fun with it. It's really that simple. And I think like a lot of people think that there's this barrier and this hump to get over. And it's funny because even I feel like in terms of the content that I make, just for fun, the stuff that I spend time like trying to curate and like, invest in doesn't do well. And the stuff that's totally random that I spent maybe just like a few minutes on is the content that, does really well. So it's kind of, again, like just getting in there, creating and having fun with it.
Yeah, Priti, I mean, you can probably speak to this better than I can, but when we think about small businesses, they don't often have high production budgets to be able to do this kind of stuff. So we spent a lot of time onboarding and bringing them in and helping them understand that they can just take their phone, use the power of all the production tools within the app, and actually create something that feels unique and authentic to their brand, and just keep posting and see what works. And then you can build on that direction once you know what's resonating on the platform. So that's kind of our approach to it, really. It's like, keep it simple, create a lot, and just respond to what's popping.
Yeah, and on that note, just to build on something Shyam said, we do offer a lot of editing tools and resources and templates as well. We have a music library with, kind of over 100,000 licensed songs, et cetera, that are available for use. So again, there's a lot in there that you can definitely leverage and take advantage. It's literally just getting in there and just starting.
So create original, fun, unique content, or should we lean into a trending sound or a trending hashtag? And what's more important there? Because I feel like sound is a key differentiator. Like, trending sounds seem more important than the way something looks, actually. Am I right on this?
So I would say that there is no right answer, in that everything is important and each element kind of serves a different purpose. So I would, again, like the best way to get started is, to get in the app, download the app if you don't have it, check out the Discover page, because that gives you a really great snapshot to see what's trending right now. So you'll be able to see the latest trends, including hashtags, sounds, and effects. And I know we talked about our algorithm a little bit, but I just want to kind of dive in a little bit deeper in that, unlike competitors, TikTok is based on a content graph versus a social graph. And the reason that this is so important is that, it basically means that businesses can reach new users beyond their base audience, because, when you see content in the For You feed, this is based on the content that you're consuming. And so the For You feed fuels content discovery and consumption. And so I think what's great is that TikTok has really democratized content creation. So again, that every post can be seen and engaged with by non-followers. So what is important is ensuring that good content gets the reach it deserves. And so focus on creative and engaging content. And then, Libby, just to kind of go back to your point about sound, I definitely did want to touch on it, as it is a critical part of the TikTok experience. So I would say that, the thing that's very unique about TikTok is that we're in a sound always on environment. And we've fundamentally changed the way that brands and users think and use sound. And sound is giving brands a voice and letting them speak up. So I would say that trending sounds are a great way to jump into a conversation that's already happening on the platform. And just in terms of, again, from a performance KPI metric, we've seen that TikTok branded content with sound actually outperforms competitors.
Wow. Is there a way to look at what's trending globally versus like what's trending in Brazil versus Mexico versus England? Or does a normal person have the ability to look at those unique trends country by country?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, absolutely. So you'll be able to localize what's going on in a specific region for sure. And that makes it even more relevant if a brand is only targeting North American audiences, for example. We don't want to necessarily bring in trends from other countries. So yeah, that's totally possible. Yeah.
I just think that's important right now, especially, it feels like we're almost out of this pandemic, but there's certain countries that aren't doing as well, and you might not want to lean into a hyper fun element if it's not appropriate at a certain point in time. So that's why I asked that question.
Yeah, I think that's really important. As you say, I think the tactics that brands might use to push and drive, lower funnel, if we can call it that, tactics, is that it depends very much on if people can get to brick and mortar stores, right? I think there's that element of the practicality of what we're asking audiences to do. And so that absolutely, yes, can be localized. And like I said, the targeting capabilities that we're applying when it comes to paid advertising, you can absolutely target based on demo, based on geo, based on interest, and based on behavior as well. So you can get super granular with that. Actually, one thing that launched this week is that our partnership with LiveRamp went live on Wednesday. And that allows brands to bring their first party data from, say, CRM tools.
You're speaking my language.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's a huge development for us because it means that brands can hit the ground running essentially on the platform. They know who their audiences are. They can either target those audiences to continue the relationship and build that bond on the platform, or they can prospect by excluding those audiences and reach similar audiences, lookalikes essentially, to who are already their existing customer base. So that's really powerful, and that's something that we've been working pretty hard on, and that gives advertisers and agencies confidence that you're not starting from scratch on TikTok. You can bring your audience, you can identify who they are, you can segment them, and then you can bring your authentic voice, either through amplifying the conversations, as I mentioned, that's already happening. Brands don't even need to make anything. They can literally just find the conversations that are already happening and pay to boost those. Or they can leverage the creator community, which again is extremely low, has a really low entry cost, because we're not thinking about the Kardashians and the budgets that they command. We're talking about the long tail of passionate communities who have a ton of influence in their sub community. So that's what makes it, I think, really exciting for brands. And for me, coming from the media background, we haven't had something like this before. Something that gives brands full screen, sound on, 100% share of voice, mobile experience. I came from the publisher background, and the best you could probably do with video was a 16:9 video, pre-roll, sound off, skippable, that you had to, sit through to be able to get to the content that you actually wanted to watch. But that's not what it's like on TikTok. Audiences say that our advertising is as engaging as the content. So that's really what kind of excites me, about the future for advertising on TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah, when you talk about how video used to be, we forget that, we used to just really hope that someone would listen and watch the video, and then we had to make the assumption that no one was going to be listening to the video. So we put captions on every single thing. Because
caption on mobile just doesn't work, right?
No, but when I see captions on TikTok, though, the way that they're done, it makes me have to listen to it, because I can tell they're doing it to some rhythmic thing. And I'm like, I want to see how this all fits together, because everyone's creating this little piece of art that's just fascinating.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point. I think one of the things I want to kind of leave you with is like, brands just need to think about telling stories on the platform. If they can tell a story in that 60-second opportunity that they have, really that's what we see as the most successful. As Prithvi mentioned, brands who don't overthink it, and creators who produce something that feels simple and authentic but tells a story is the best way to be able to capture attention on the platform. You don't need to think anything more about it than that.
Yeah. So do you guys think I have what it takes to be the next biggest creator?
I mean, we haven't seen your content yet, Libby.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out after this.
Check it out first, yeah.
Okay, because I think
tips and hints. You could be our next creator. You could be part of the creator marketplace. Who knows?
All right. I think there's really a role for this Gen X person. Probably not, but that's okay. I do think we should kind of figure out what the GetGlobal dance move is. I was thinking maybe it's like one of those things where like you see my background and then I could cover the thing, and then I'm in Spain, and then I'm in Russia, and then I'm in China.
Is that your way of getting around the world tripping, and try and get a few travel locations in?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a good trick. I'll join you on that one.
Okay.
Yeah,
great.
count me in too, and we'll just find some good music to kind of pair with that.
Okay, well, I'm sure Julian can hook that up. So I can't wait till he hears the playback and he knows his marching orders on this.
He's listening. We know he's listening.
So we're near the top of the hour. I know there's another panel on this room right at 10 o'clock. So any parting words? How should people get in touch with you or your team members if they want to get started, working on advertising or storytelling solutions for their brands?
Yeah, I'm happy to jump in on that one. I would say check out our TikTok for Business website. There's a ton of information on there, and sign up. That'll put you in touch with someone from our side, from our business side. And then for small businesses, I did want to make a little plug. We do have a small business resource center, again, with specific resources for a small and medium-sized business. So check that out.
Okay.
We launched our self-serve advertising solutions last year. So that has all the tools you need, creative tools, et cetera, to basically create and launch campaigns. And then I would say, kind of outside of that, make sure you're on the app, start exploring, check out the Discover page, see what's trending, watch videos, read the comments, pay attention to how other brands are showing up. And again, I just want to, emphasize, I already said this, but most importantly, don't overthink it and just have fun.
Great. Well, thank you guys so much. I really enjoyed this hour. I really appreciate you guys taking your time out of your busy days to help educate the audience. And everyone, please stick around. There's all kinds of fun stuff happening later on today. So thank you guys.
Thanks, Libby.
Thanks, Libby.